What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot time. Checking in. It is Thursday evening, about 7 p.m.-ish, and it's still warm here in South Carolina. Heat index way up there. Doesn't show a lot of signs of letting up. That being said, college football the past few days, man, I don't know what's going on. Let me just tell you this. This right here, preseason magazine, right? Breaks down all your teams. Power 5 and Group of 5, even does a little bit with the FCS schools and even the Division Tours. Rosters, schedules, throw it out the window. And the rosters, for the most part, you can throw that out the window too. And things are just becoming very perplexing, and it's becoming very confusing. At this point, to be honest with you. And as much as I love college football, as much as I love it, part of me just wishes that they would just nix this whole thing and just say, we're done with it, and we're not going to play this year. And I, for one, thought I would never hear myself say that. But look, I mean, you got to know. What are we going to do, folks, when you have Alabama, who ends up at the end of the SEC regular season with a record of 9-1, okay, because they played all 10 games, so they lost one. And then you have, say, for instance, Georgia, who ends up 6-0, had an outbreak of the COVID, so they missed 4 games. They couldn't make them up. So then what do? You know, who ends up being in first place? Who ends up being in second place? Are we going on a percentage system? Are we going on a point system here? How's that work? I got a lot of questions here that really have not been answered by anybody. This whole opting out thing, you've had several players so far to opt out. Micah Parsons, rising, I think he's a rising junior. At Penn State, linebacker, probably the best in the country. Definitely top 10 NFL draft pick. Next year, he's opting out, not playing. Rashad Bateman, Minnesota wide receiver. I think the guy caught like 1,200 something yards last year. A slew of touchdowns. He's another NFL player that's going to get drafted. He decides to opt out. And then there's others across the country that are nameless and faceless to me at this point. South Carolina had a couple of players opt out. One of them was a starter on the offensive line. One of them wasn't. Starter on the offensive line, you know what? We really can't afford that. We don't really have the depth at that position or in any position for to lose starters. So there's that. I have made my feelings known on this channel before. What I think about the college athlete using their platform. I think it's good that you have an opinion and you want to take your stance on things. I think that's good. There's a time and a place to do it. And I just don't think that at your age, at your maturity level, that it's time for you to be taking stances on such things. And this was a discussion I heard on a radio station the other morning, and it happened to be a radio station of a rival team, and I couldn't believe it, but the guy that usually I kind of stand to listen to in the mornings actually had the same viewpoints as me. He's talking about, when you were in the 11th grade, did you use your platform and take a stance? Is your mom telling you that you couldn't be out after midnight? Did you take a stand against telling your dad that no, I'm not gonna do my homework after practice this week. I'm gonna take the week off. Did you take the stand and say, no, I'm gonna talk back to my teachers? No, you didn't. I mean, it was a different time, man, and things were better back then, weren't they? So we have that. But this, to me, this opting out because of the COVID-19 is not. It's somewhat similar to these guys that are going to be either graduating or declaring for the NFL draft after the season, sitting out bowl games. unless the bowl game is quote unquote meaningful. They won't play in it. Kind of like Deebo Samuel did a couple years ago at South Carolina, and I've still never forgiven him for and never will. A lot of players across the country who've done that same type shit over the past 5 years or so. It's been a trend, and I think it's a trend that's going to get even more steam behind it, as opposed to a trend that'll probably curb off in the future. I think you'll see more and more of this as these people become more and more and more entitled. Sitting out the season, opting out because of COVID-19 is, to me, sitting out a bowl game and not joining your teammates, whether or not you think it's meaningful, whether you play for, Michigan and you're a future late first round draft pick, and your team lost to Ohio State, and then say you dropped a game to Notre Dame on schedule, and you finished up 10-2, and you really don't want to play in that Outback Bowl against Auburn because you think it's meaningless. I think it's a bitch move. Not playing because of COVID, that's just an example, by the way. That's not any certain person. I don't know if they ever played Auburn in an Outback Bowl. They could have, and if they did, and I offended somebody, sorry if I offended you. Not playing because of COVID-19, it's not necessarily a bitch move, but to me, it's a little bit of a selfish move. Here's why. Here's the deal. First of all, to me, it sets an example to NFL people. I don't know. It sets kind of a precedent that you're going to be somebody that's going to be hard to deal with in the future. Okay, the COVID-19 has not just affected you. I mean, it's affected everybody in the country. It's affected everybody, man. I went today to pick up a freaking silly little tube of super glue from Family Dollar, and I get halfway across the damn parking lot. I'm like, shit, forgot my damn mask. I got it, and it's stuff like that all the time. It's everybody. We're still struggling to comply with the social distancing. We're still struggling to lead that boring life that we don't want to lead. In order to try to stomp this thing out. And right now, in some areas of the country, I mean, it's toned down a little bit. New York City, I think the other day, it said the third day in a row they reported 0 deaths from the coronavirus, and that's in New York City. That is fucking amazing. It's amazing. It really is. Because they did the things they needed to do. They took the precautions they needed to do. And they followed through with them. And I mean, I dare say, you see a lot of the numbers starting to turn a little bit that way. You've seen it for a while in the so-called Yankee states, because rules are rules, and you see more people following them. Down here in the South, people think that rules are meant to be bent or broken, and they really don't hold a lot of water. Even though it is a rule and it's the law, it's still my right to not follow those rules. So there's my little spill on that. But not playing because of the COVID-19, dude, everybody is at risk of the COVID-19. And, just for example, Parsons, future NFL first-round draft pick. Well, dude, just because you sit the season out don't mean you ain't going to get the damn coronavirus. And I don't know if it's so much the fact that they fear that they're going to get the coronavirus and they don't want to risk their NFL career, or the fact that they think that this is just going to be a throwaway season anyway, and I don't want to risk getting hurt in these 1, 2, or 3 games that we may play, and then the season, all of a sudden gets shot. He don't want to say, well, I blew out my ACL against Illinois, and it dropped me down 3 rounds in the draft because of that. I can also see it from that point of view too. So it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag to me. On one hand, I can see it as you kind of letting your teammates and fans down. Well, I don't know how many fans these teams are actually going to have this year, at least not in goddamn live attendance, but I'm sure they're going to be watching on TV. You can bet your damn ass that the first college football game that hits the tube this year, the first real one, live one that counts, lock, stock, and smoking barrels, dude, that thing, the ratings on that thing are going to be through the damn roof. And I'm telling you right now, I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. We talked this on our podcast, the Rob Conrad and Kale show, that we thought it would be a good idea for the Ivy League, since they kind of go against the grain sometimes. You know, they don't play in the playoffs. Even if one of their teams goes 11-0, 10-0, whatever it is, and wins the Ivy League championship, they won't compete in the FCS playoffs because of academics. You know, they don't have scholarships, or they offer very few scholarships. We thought, you know, it would be a cool idea for the Ivy League teams to play in the spring every year. Every year. I mean, could you imagine what great TV ratings that would get? You know, your Harvard versus Yale game that you see now on ESPN in early April, everybody's tuning in to watch it, man, because, like, there's this huge football fix that everybody wants to get in on because we hate not having football, and the XFL is already folded and the World League or whatever it was already folded. The XFL didn't fold. The Rock owns it now, so maybe can't do the eyebrow. He'll bring it back. But the XFL's failed like a couple of times already, hasn't it? So the past is the best indicator of the future. I don't think the Rock's going to be able to do that much with it. For one, I don't think he's got Vince's money. Although he may. He may be pretty damn close. I don't know. They both have slightly more than I'll ever have. So there's that. But guys, just pray that we'll be able to have some semblance of fun this year, some semblance of trash talking, some semblance of normalcy. You know, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and I damn sure definitely don't want to see any of these players get sick. I don't want to see them put themselves at risk, but I honestly believe that if you're out there playing with your teammates, I honestly believe that you're really not putting yourself any more at risk of contracting this than you are of, you know, just being an everyday citizen, walking around and everything. You know, they opt out. They can opt out. I can't opt out. I can't opt out of work. My old lady can't opt out of her work either. I mean, we just can't. I mean, so being able to be in that position is a blessing in itself. And I don't know. I think some of them just take their position as a college football star for granted, and just they don't think about the fans. They don't think about the little guys. They don't think about the Carolina Jackpots of the world. They don't think about the Uncle Lou's of the world. They don't think about all the Jimmy from Talladega, Alabama fans of the world. They don't think of the Monty from Boulder, Colorado, Colorado super fans of the world. I'm just making names up now. They just don't. I mean, they think of themselves, their family, who they want to support, and that's about it. And maybe that's the way it should be. I don't know. But in a more sensical world, to me, in a little bit more old-fashioned world with a little bit more morals and decency, you think about those things as well. Stay safe, guys. Be good. I will see y'all later. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, hit it with a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy the video, hit it with a thumbs down. Tell me what an idiot I am. I really don't care. Any kind of a reaction means there was an interaction, and that's pretty good for Carolina Jackpot. I'll see y'all later. Appreciate it. Push. And I'm out. Go Gamecocks. Spurs up to my toes up, baby. Fire, coach, boom. Woo! COVID or no COVID, somebody's got to be held accountable, and it's you.